I have an article here, and it's pretty cool. This is out of CBC News, British Columbia, and the headline: "World class skier bounces back after traumatic brain injury thanks to breakthrough treatment." And the cool part about this is you're in this picture on headline news on the toboggan, basically straddling the patient, helping her out or him out. I don't even know, him or her.
Yeah, a female.
Female helping her out.
Female, yeah.
Like, what is this? So world class skier number one, awesome. Traumatic brain injury, not awesome. And you're there to help her get to a rescue or save her life.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's that again, that's easily 7 years, if not, yeah, 7 years ago. So in the spring at Whistler Blackcomb, it's not as big as it doesn't really exist much anymore, but for a number of years, there's this thing called the World Ski and Snowboard Festival. So this big spring festival, bunch of entertainment, bunch of big snow sport events. So a high level ski cross event, high level what's called slope style event. So those of you that watch the X Games,
Yeah.
Big jumping competition, so freestyle jumping competition, both skiers and snowboarders. And at this stage of the game, this festival was sort of the place to be. People from around the world would come. The top athletes were there, and the Ski Patrol provided first aid for coverage for that as well. And it's the slope style events, women's slope style. This woman named Jamie Mocrazy, and I think it's all. I apologize. I think she's a Park City girl. I'm pretty sure Utah. If I'm getting that wrong, Jamie, I apologize. And she's a professional freestyle skier, and she is going to do a backflip on this massive jump, and she does it, and she comes up short, and she touches her ski tips on the knuckle of the jump. So those that know sort of the way these slope style jumps are made, there's sort of this big elevated takeoff and then a flat spot, and then the landing surface that you land on, and the knuckle is sort of that transition between the flat spot and where you want to land.
Yeah.
And so she sort of I guess under rotates a little bit, and the ski tips touch before her feet kind of come around. So they touch and immediately stop. And then that pile drives, as you can imagine, her head straight into the snow. And these tabletops are like 60 feet long. You know, there's a large amount of air and quite a bit of descending drop there. So she's got lots of energy, lots of potential energy built up to hurt herself. So she touches her ski tips, pile drives herself into the snow, and she's unconscious, seizing at the bottom. With a severe head injury. So our response goes into play. I'm not the first person there, another ski patroller's there, but this is sort of a full scale response. And so all of our available people are on this call. And yeah, she's unconscious, she's clamped down, she's seizing, and everyone goes to work. Our key ALS and mountain doctors are there. She gets paralyzed with succinylcholine, like the paralyzing drug, to get intubated. I remember starting the IV on her, and she was posturing so hard to her core. Those that know that, so she was decorticate, so she's all postured up. When people have bad head injuries, they essentially like clamp down or seize up. Their muscles go super stiff, and I remember trying to get her arm straight enough to get access to the vein in her arm, and it took all my strength. And she's this tiny little woman. She's probably 5'4", and I don't know, 120 pounds maybe or something. And I ended up having to kneel on her hand, like with all of my body weight, to hold her arm straight, just to get access there to the IV. So that's a complicated place to have those kind of calls happening. It's high profile. There's cameras. Everyone's watching. It's our sisters there. It's it's really sort of scary and tragic for everybody. She gets intubated and stabilized as well as we can there. We can't land the helicopter super close by, so we have to ski a few hundred meters to a designated landing spot. But she's now unconscious, paralyzed, so she needs to be bagged. She's intubated and bagged. So we put her on in the toboggan, and then someone needs to sort of ride with her to keep breathing for her as we go. So I got on the toboggan and straddled her, and luckily she's relatively small, so there's sort of room for both of us to do that. And there's a bit of technique to be stable enough to manage your weight there. And James, the guy that was first on scene, is super good skier, and so he's able to navigate down through the rest of the course on the toboggan. And while I bagged her in the back of the toboggan to the helicopter, and then into the helicopter down to the clinic, where she then was again sort of stabilized, but immediately flown by our BC air ambulance to the primary trauma center. It really seemed like one of those sort of critical head injuries where she had obviously a significant bleed, and those of the paramedics that worked on her that had seen that type of stuff before, like they're just like, she's not going to survive. I think that's the type of injury that she's not going to survive. She does survive to the Vancouver General Hospital there, rooftop, to the main trauma center there. And again, I could be getting this wrong, but I think it's relatively new technology. The sort of idea that you drill a hole in the skull to release the pressure of the bleeding that's happening. That's what squeezes your brain and kills people super quickly. That have these sort of pressure sensors / gas sensors that let those that are the experts in it sort of optimize the best way to recover that patient with respect to optimization and blood gases and all those complicated ICU type things. This is, I think the first time they used this new technology to give her the best chance of surviving. Then the long story of the long story is that she's American. They stabilize her enough to fly back to the US. And the last we hear of it is that she's alive. But at that point, that type of head injury suggests that most likely she's like deeply head injured, sort of vegetabilized patient. It would be what the history would suggest that type of injury ends up at. So we don't really hear much about it after that she survived. She's been repatriated to the US, and we wish her the best of luck. A year later, I'm at the same festival. There's these big entertainment things in the village as well, these sort of film festival and a big slideshow. And I'm at that enjoying myself. This accident's so long in the memory banks. The host gets up and is like, we love our mountain sports. We love celebrating extreme sports, but at the same time, terrible things can happen. Last year, there was this horrible accident. This woman, Jamie Mocrazy, had this terrible head injury. And remarkably, and thanks to the efforts of the ski patrol and the medical practitioners down the line, she's alive and well and here today. And I'm like, oh no! God, I was like, no way! I was like, that girl is all I knew of her from then. I was like, is here, like, back. So after the show, I wandered my way through the probably 1,000 people that were at this big event, and I got a chance to sort of catch her attention and introduce myself, and it was emotional. I think we both shed tears. I was just like,
dude,
Jamie,
I love that.
Unbelievable. I think about it now, and like her mom was there and her whole family was there, and I'm like, I'm Brian. I'm the paramedic that ended up, flying down off the ski hill with you, and we sort of just I had a stunned look, and then pretty meaningful conversation there. And since then she's come back. She's back on skis. She's back skiing. She's had this long, difficult, and incredible recovery. She's functioning cognitively well skiing. She got married last year, got invited to her wedding. Unfortunately, I couldn't go, but one of the ALS paramedic that intubated her went, and he was like, it was tearful, man. Like, here's this woman, their family, a really quite educated family. Her sister was also a doctor, which played a big role in her recovery. She has this foundation, I think called Mocrazy Strong now, but if you look it up, Jamie Mocrazy. That story. She's an advocate for head injury recovery. She had a bunch of different modalities. She's a public speaker. I think there's a documentary coming out on her recovery.
Awesome.
And so, what is like, just such a meaningful thing. All we did was our best. It did not look favorable for how deeply injured she was, and to see that recovery and then make that sort of connection years later. Those things make terrible things worth being a part of, you know?
Yeah. You know, it's such a
Yeah,
rarity to ever see the people that we rescue, and you
exactly.
know,
Yeah.
for you
Yeah.
to be able to connect with her, and oh man, that is incredible.